Welcome to the excellent Next.js Crash Course with the best explanation. So before we proceed with the basic, it is extremely important to know exactly what you are going to build after learning the basics in 40 minutes. Sounds good, right? Beautiful. After spending 40 minutes learning the basics, we will proceed to build this elegant website from scratch. So we are going to implement the email functionality, dynamic routing, nested route, and so on and so forth. Good news! The first 1,000 students to enroll this course will get the entire course and source code for free. Alright, so you can start learning on Skillshare right away. The link is right within the description, and when you enroll, you are going to get a certificate, you are going to get the source code and the materials. Having said all this, make sure to give the video a like, do well to subscribe, and let's get started. Next.js is a React framework for production. And now the question is, what exactly is the difference between Next.js and React.js? React.js is simply a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. And I want you to think about a library as a package that is created to solve a specific problem. React, being a library, is focused on creating interactive user interfaces. That exactly is the only thing React.js does as a library. So you cannot use React.js to perform routing and HTTP calls. And whereas a framework is a complete solution. So Next.js as a framework can be used to cause effects and as well to perform routing, which simply implies you can use Next.js to build a full stack application. Teaching good? Beautiful. Haven't understood the difference between Next.js and React.js? In the next lecture, we will go ahead to create a new Next.js application. This is all for now. If you find this lecture helpful, make sure to smash the like button and otherwise hit subscribe. In this section of the course, we are going to make some necessary installations to get going. It is indeed a prerequisite to have Node.js running on your machine before installing Next.js. However, I encourage every one of you to download and install the latest stable release. This one here at the left edge of the screen. Right? So please do not install this guy at the right side of the screen simply because it comes with extra complexities that you may not be able to reason about. Yeah, so let's quickly download and install the latest stable release. Here is it. It is downloading. Download successful. Let's open it within the download folder. Click to install. Alright, so before we proceed, we also have to quit this directory over here. And now we are left with Node.js. Let's continue. So you can go through all of these stuffs if you have the time, but for me, I just have to continue. Agree. Hit on install button. If you're on Mac, it is definitely going to ask for your password. But if you are working on Windows, it is going to be an express installation. So you don't need any password. Right now, I'm going to key in my password. Install software. The installation is ongoing. Installed successful. Let's close it down. Do you want to keep the Node.js after installation, or you want to move it to trash? Let's move it to trash. Right now, we are going to pop up the search box by hitting Command and Space bar. You just have to search for terminal. What we are going to do is to check the version we installed. So I'm going to do node space dash v. Let me see if I can zoom it up a little bit. All right, I can zoom up. Hit on the enter key. And now we have this version of Node installed. Beautiful. Now we are done with the installation. In the next lecture, we will go ahead to install VS Code. This is all for now. See you in the next lecture. Hi there. Welcome back to class. In the previous lecture, we installed Node.js. Now in this lecture, we will go ahead to install the code editor. Feel free to use any code editor of your choice, but for me, the VS Code is always my favorite. And I encourage you to download the VS Code. Simply because along the line, I will share with you some tips and tricks that will speed up the development process. And for sure, I want every one of you to follow along. Sounds good, right? Beautiful. Quickly head on to code.visualstudio.com and this component will be opened right in front of you. Now let's scroll down. On the left side of the screen, we have the VS Code for Windows. And right at the center, we have it for Ubuntu and other stuffs. Lastly, at the right side of the screen, we have it for Mac. Right here, I am on Mac, so I would definitely download it for Mac. But if you are working on Windows, you also have to download this one right here. This one, okay? You have to download this one. But right now, I want to download this one right here for Mac. So if you are using Mac alongside, you can quickly download this guy. Click to download. Let's check the download process. Can you see? Visual Studio Code is downloading already. The download will definitely take a while, so I just have to fast forward the lecture. Download successful. Let's open it up within the folder. Let's quickly unzip. And boom, here is it. Though I have it already on my machine, and that is why you can see the duplicate over here. So this is the one I'm using previously, and this is the new one that I just downloaded. So you can click to open. And here is it. All right. This is all for now, and in the next lecture, we will go ahead to install some of the extensions that is needed. Those extensions are extremely important because we will be making use of it in the future. So please do not skip the next lecture. All right, so in this lecture, we will go ahead to install the extensions that will be used to make things easier in the future. So first, we have to quit the release notes page. All right. At the mid left corner of the screen, you will see the extension. Here is it. When I hover, you see the extensions, right? Click to open. Within the search box, we are going to search for ES7 React Redux snippet. So I'm going to do ES7 plus React / Redux / React Native. And here is it. Click to open. I have it installed already on my VS Code, and that is the reason you can see the uninstall button. At your end, the install button will be enabled. So all you have to do is to click on the install button, And then you will have this powerful snippet installed. This snippet is extremely powerful because we will be using it to generate some React functional component code without having to type it from scratch. Now let's go back to the search box. So now we have to install the JavaScript and TypeScript nightly. JavaScript and TypeScript nightly. Let's zoom out a little bit. I hope you can see clearly. Can you see? Hit on the install button. The installation is ongoing. Installed successful. So we have to close it down. Another powerful extension is the Tailwind IntelliSense. So this IntelliSense will help show the CSS equivalent to the Tailwind utility class when you hover on it. Don't worry, all of this might sound tricky, but in the future, you definitely will get the gist. So let's install Tailwind IntelliSense. And here is it. So it seems I have it installed already. Again, at your end, if you do not have it installed, you are going to see the install button, right? All you have to do is to smash the install button and then everything will be fine with you. And again, if this is your first time to work with Tailwind CSS, I want you to cheer up, right? Because I will explain carefully each and every Tailwind utility class. Sounds good, right? Beautiful. This is all for now. If you find this lecture helpful, make sure to smash the like button and otherwise hit subscribe. Welcome back to class. In this lecture, we will go ahead to create our first Next.js application. So go back to the desktop. Right within, right click, new folder. And I will call this folder Next.js Practice. Take note, when naming your project, always use a descriptive name that describes the intention of the project so that you can relate with it easily in the future. Haven't created the folder? Quickly open up your VS Code. The next in line is to drag and drop the folder down into the VS Code. Let's quickly maximize. Okay, we have to give it some permission here. And then let's quit the welcome page. Ctrl backtick to open up the VS Code integrated terminal. And here is it. And by the way, the backtick is located at the top left corner of the keyboard, right below the escape key. And if you cannot do it with the shortcut, all you have to do is to go to the top menu and then Terminal, New Terminal. And then this window below will be opened. Now, to create a new Next.js application, let's follow the command. And here is it. npx create -next-app. And then you're going to do add latest. To copy the command, you have to click on this copy icon. Go back to VS Code and then Command V to paste. What I'm going to do right now is to space it out and then /. This will help install the Next.js right within the Next.js practice folder. Hit on the enter key to get it fire up. Again, hit on the enter key to proceed. Would you like to use TypeScript? Of course, yes. Would you like to use ESLint? Of course, yes. So you can switch between yes or no using the left or the right arrow key. Would you like to use Tailwind CSS? Yes. Would you like to use SRC? Yes. App router? Yes. And almost everything is going to be yes. Would you like to use the import alias? We want everything to be complete, so I will go with the option yes. Then lastly, hit on the enter key. Installed successful. Let's quickly launch our project on the web. So what I'm going to do right now is npm run dev. Simple as that. And then hit on the enter key. So the project will be running on localhost port 3000. And to open up the project, all you have to do is to press down the command or the control key on your keyboard and then click on the link to open. And on the screen is our first Next.js application. Alright, welcome back to class. In the previous lecture, we learned how to create and run a basic Next.js application. Now we are going to dive deep into the project files and folder structure to understand how everything works when we run our application. Let's proceed with the package.json file. Ctrl+tick to close down the terminal. Command B or Ctrl B to open up the VS Code Explorer. Within the Explorer, you are going to find the package.json file. And here is it, right? Beautiful. And within the script, we have the dev to run our application in development mode. Next is the build, which is used to build the application and get it ready for production deployment. The start script is used to start the app production server. The lint is used to set up Next.js built-in ESLint configuration. And for the dependencies, we have React, React DOM, and Next.js. Okay, so we have React version 18 installed, and then we have Next version 14.0.1. So as of the time of recording, this is the latest version. Below, we have the dev dependencies. And of course, we have the TypeScript and types. And here we have the post CSS, Tailwind, ESLint, and so on and so forth. So let's close it down quickly. And again, within the Explorer, we have the packagelock.json file. This file ensures consistent installation of our dependencies. Right above, we have the git ignore, which is helpful for version control. And below we have the readme.md file. The readme.md is a documentation that contains instruction related to running, building, and deploying the application. And we have the next-env.d.ts. And it consists of TypeScript declaration for Next.js. And what file again do we have to discuss? Okay, let's talk about the next.config.js. And here is it. We have the next.config.js. We also have the tsconfig.js right below. And also we have the postcss.config for Tailwind configurations. Moving on to the top, we have the public directory. And here is it. The public folder contains all the static assets to be saved, including the images and the SVGs. So when we are building a reward application, all of the SVGs that we are going to use will be imported within this public directory. Close it down. And the next in line is the SRC, which is the source package. When you click to open, you are going to see the app, and within the app, we have the 5 icon, and here is it. Let me show you on the screen. And here is the 5 icon, serving as the logo. Okay, let's close it down. Here is the global CSS, which is very useful when you want to stylize multiple sections in the application. Below is the layout.tss. The layout.tss is the parent container of the entire Next.js application. Finally, we have the page.tss. So the page.tss will enter into the root layout as a children. Let me show you. So whatever you have right here will go into the layout as children. Can you see? And here is it, right? So when it comes here, what appears within this tag would be rendered on the screen, just like this. So everything within the page.tss, can you see we have the p tag which says get started by editing. When you go back to the browser, you are going to see get started by editing. So this is made possible simply because the page.tss is passed down into the parent layout as children. Simple as that. Now we have been able to understand the control flow of a Next.js application. The next in line is to clean up the code. Let's do that in the next lecture. In this lecture, we are going to proceed by cleaning up the code. So navigate to the page.tss. Right within, we are going to highlight from lines 5 to lines 111. So we want to clean up everything in order to start afresh. Wipe it off. Oops, the application is complaining simply because it is going to return a UI. So we are going to have a div here. Save the project. When you check the browser, reload, you are going to see an empty screen. Go back to VS Code. Now we have to open up the global CSS. It's located within the source, the app, and then global CSS. When you click to open, you will see the CSS that we generated when we did npx create-next-app. What I'm going to do right now is to highlight from lines 5. Oops, take a look. All right. Highlight and then down to lines 27. Wipe it off. When you save, check out the browser and boom. Can you see? So now we have succeeded in removing everything that we do not want. We have to start from scratch. All right. So we are going to build the application from scratch. And that is extremely good for you. I know you may be wondering why we did not delete this Tailwind configuration over here. It is simply because if you want to make use of Tailwind, this configuration must be included. Okay, so you have to leave it exactly the way it is. When you save, and again, we have an empty screen. This is all for now, and in the next lecture, we will talk about the routing system in Next.js 14. In this lecture, we will go ahead to discuss the routing system in Next.js 14. And so, let's talk about the app router. Next.js implements a file system-based routing techniques in which the URL path within the browser tab is controlled by the file and folders within your code base. Sounds tricky, right? Don't worry. When we begin to practicalize it, you will definitely understand it well enough. Take note of this key point. In Next.js 14, when a folder is created within the app directory, that folder automatically becomes a route when a page.ts or a page.js is created within. So following the Next.js 14 routing convention, in order to implement a route, you must definitely have to create a folder within the app directory. So let's assume we are building a real-world website where we need a contact page and a profile page. Command B to open up the Explorer. Within the app directory, right-click and then new folder. We are going to call it contacts, just like this. Another one, within the app, right-click, new folder. And this will be called profile. Having done this, let's check it out on the browser to see if it is routable. Go back to the browser, and here I'm going to do localhost port 3000/contact. When you hit on the enter key, it says it throws back a 404 error not found page. You know why? It is simply because we have to create a page.tss or .js within the contact folder. That exactly is when this folder will become a route. So right click, new file, and we are going to do page.tss. Within RFC to generate the React functional component. Contact page. You can use a h1 tag if you want. Take a look. Now, when you check out the browser, you are going to see the contact page. Let's route the profile page. So I'm going to do localhost 3000/profile. When you hit on the enter key, it returns a 404 error not found page. And I guess by now, you should know exactly what to do at your end. Pause the video and implement the profile route. Let me help you with that. Within the profile directory, right-click, new file, and we are going to call it page.tsx. Simply because we are using TypeScript, that is why we are going with the .tss extension. Hit on the enter key, again RFC to generate the React functional component. Here I'm going to do profile page. Let's implement it within the h1 tag. Cut this, paste it within, and boom. All right, save on the browser. Can you see now? Now the page is visible. Okay, so you can give the h1 tag a class name, and then we're going to do text-9xl. This tailwind utility class simply means we are increasing the font size to 8 rem. When you save and check out the browser, and boom, can you see? It becomes very bold like this. So now this exactly is how to implement routing in Next.js. We can also route to the contact page, just like this, and boom. Can you see? So take note of these key points. Routes are associated with the files based on the containing folder's name within the app directory. So a page.ts within the contact folder will map to /contact, and a page.tss within the profile folder will map to /profile. And that is why when you come here and do /contact, you get the contact page. Matter of fact, we can actually give it a background color so you understand what we're talking about. So here, let's give this div a class name. And then within the class name, we are going to make use of the utility class bg-yellow-500. When you save and check out the browser, and here is the contact page. So in summary, each folder within the app directory corresponds to a URL segment when a page with a .ts or a .js extension is created within. Teaching good? Beautiful. In the previous lecture, we discussed the file-based routing feature in Next.js. So in this lecture, we are going to proceed with nested route. So let's take, for example, you are building a reward application where you need to implement different users page, right? So we are going to have the admin user and the client user. So let's assume the admin user will be the first user, and then the second user will be the client user. Let's practicalize this example. Within the app, we're going to create a new folder called users. So we are building an application where we need to implement different users page. Within the users, we are going to have another folder called first user. Again, within the users, we are going to have second user. In simplicity, we are nesting these two routes within the users. Don't worry, you will definitely understand the gist. So having done this, we have to right click on the first user, and then we are going to create a page.tss RFC to generate the functional component. Let's quickly give this div a class name, and then we are going to have a bg-yellow-800, and within we are going to have a h1 tag first user. Save. So here on the browser, we are going to do /users/first user, and boom, here is it. Can you see? So now let's implement it for the second user. Within the second user, right click, create a new file, and I'm going to do page.tsx, generate the functional component quickly. And here we're going to have a h1 tag second user. Let's give the class name text-9xl. Okay, when you save and check out the browser, so we have to target /users/second user. Take a look. Can you see? So this exactly is how to implement a nested route in Next.js. Simple as that. In the previous lecture, we discussed the nested route. So we created the users folder, and within the users folder, we nexted the first user and the second user. And within, we have a page.tss, which corresponds to the URL part /user/first user and /user/second user. Though this approach works perfectly fine, but when building a real-world application, it is not always possible to define a route based on a predefined path. So let me quickly break it down using a real-world example. This is the elegant and super fast Next.js portfolio website that we are going to build in this course. And by the way, the link is right within the description, so I highly encourage you to enroll. There is so much value to learn from it. So here I have listed some of the blog posts, right? Now, if I click on any of the item, we should be able to pass down the item into a new page. Let me show you. For example, when I click on this guy, take a look. If you observe the URL, you are going to see app/portfolio detail/0. It means this item has the ID of 0. Let's give it a try with another item. So let's go back home. Okay, let me try it on this guy. Now, if you observe the path, you will see app/portfolio detail/5. It simply implies this item has the ID of 5. So the dynamic routing system made it possible for us to be able to pass this item down into a new page. And with the help of the ID, we are able to fetch the corresponding data. Can you see? At the left, you can see the corresponding data to this item. So this exemplifies the dynamic routing system. Haven't discussed all of this? Quickly head on to VS Code and let's practicalize it. Back to VS Code. So we are going to create a new folder called blog. So within the blog, we are going to create a page.tss. So I'm going to do /page.tss. So this is a shortcut to create a folder and a page within. So when you hit on the enter key, here is the blog. Can you see? And here is the page.tss. Generate the functional component. What we should do right now is to render a blog post. And the way we can do that right here, we are going to use the h1 tag. And I'm going to do blog post 1. Like this. Highlight. Duplicate it 8 times. Then change here to blog post 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, it. When you save the project, go back to the browser and let's see what we have. Okay, we have to navigate to the demo app. And I'm going to do /blog. Take a look. Now we have been able to render the blog post on the browser. So the next in line is to click on any of the item and then pass it down to a new page. And that exactly is where the dynamic routing comes in. Now go back to the project. So within the blog folder, right click, we are going to create a new folder called blog ID. To create a dynamic route, we have to wrap up the name of the folder within a square bracket. So the square bracket signifies a dynamic route. Now I'm going to do blog ID. Simple as that. Or you can do post ID. Okay, let's do post ID. Maybe it is more readable like that. Post ID. Within the post ID, right click, and then we are going to create a new page. This will be called page.tsx. Generate the functional component. So here we are going to have a h1 tag, and I'm going to do details page. When we click on any of the blog item, we should be able to pass it down into the details page. When you save and check out the browser, now we are going to do /blog/ for example, we are going to do 1. When you hit on the enter key, and now you see the details page. And when you do /blog/ 100, you are going to see the details page as well, /800, or whatever ID that you have within your project. So you're going to see the details page. I think we should bring it up a little bit. We are making progress and I like it. So in simplicity, Next.js treats a square bracket as a dynamic segment that enables us to create a dynamic route. So when a folder is wrapped up within the square bracket, you do not need to reference the folder within the URL before you could get the content within the page. So the essence of dynamic route is to be able to extract the ID of a post and then work on the post individually. So for example, let's go back to the first demo. So if you extract the ID of this content, when you click, based on the ID, we will be able to perform some operation on it. So we will be able to fetch the corresponding data. We can also delete and do whatever we want to do with the data. So now let me show you how to extract the ID. In Next.js, every page in the app router receives a route params as probes. So within the page, make sure you open up the post ID like this and then page.ts. Within the function, so we are going to take in params as probes. So having done this, the next in line is to bind it with the UI. Extremely easy to do that. So within the h1 tag, we are going to open and close the curly brackets. And within the curly bracket, I'm going to do params dot post ID. Simple as that. Take note. The dynamic segment we created must correspond with the UI. Okay, so whatever you have within this dynamic segment as the post ID, that exactly is what you will have here. Okay, so please make sure the spelling is correct because this is exactly what we are referencing. Yeah, and we are trying to bind this stuff here with the UI in order to extract the ID. Simple as that. So the application is complaining we have to define the type. The params is an object with a key called post ID and the type is string. That exactly is how to define your type when working with TypeScript. Here we're going to do params. So the object has a post ID with the type string. And now we have satisfied the type. So let's check it out on the browser. Now I'm going to do /blog/ 200. Take a look. Can you see? Now we have details page 200. So this is the ID.
we are grabbing it from the URL. Let me show you something. Here, let's give the class name, and then I'm going to do text-9xl. Beautiful. Let's make it more readable. Details page with the ID, and boom. So we have details page with the ID 200. Let's check another one. Let's do 17. Details page with the ID 17. And then we can do 800. And so on and so forth. Now we've been able to grab the ID from the URL. We can then begin to work on the post. This is all for now. And if you find this lecture helpful, make sure to smash the like button, and otherwise hit subscribe.